facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Greetings from my tub. I'm in here getting 5% cash back when I pay in full with PayPal. No fees, no interest. Make the most of your money this holiday with PayPal. Save the offer in the app.
Ends 12/31. See paypal.com/promo terms. Points can be redeemed for cash and more. Pay in full subject to terms and approval. PayPal link at NMLS 910457.
Ever have thoughts about your current partner, perhaps even an ex-partner, that kind of ruminate and just pop into your head and then spiral? It's actually quite a common thought process, and it quite often comes from a part of your subconscious mind that wants to protect you, stop you from being hurt, or to try and extract wisdom and learn from the past. My name's Adam, and in this hypnosis session, you're going to hear a hypnosis session built for a client that really had non-stop thoughts about a time period before they got together, but after their previous marriage. And there was a 6-year window, and they would ruminate on the different relationships, the different situations that their current wife had before they were together. And unfortunately, that wasn't a useful way of thinking. It led to feelings of anxiety and insecurity and obsessiveness. And that wasn't conducive to the kind of relationship that they had. And they felt that it was down to the kind of unsafe environment they had in their childhood. So in this session, it's actually quite a long session, and it's different levels of disassociation and perspectives. There's regression to a childhood memory. There's regression to their previous relationship to extract all of that wisdom, to learn that they needed different standards in place even back then, to do some parts therapy because there was a part that was really confident and assured that things were going to be fine, and another part that was warning them and trying to protect them from emotional pain. So we needed them to be on the same side rather than working against each other, harnessing the resources they had in the early parts of the relationship and imagining that all of these intrusive thoughts that they're having actually happened earlier, that rather than not knowing until after they were married, imagining that they had all of that information beforehand, then it didn't change anything. So there's a lot going on here, and it ends with future pacing where they get a sense that they've got evidence that the change has taken place. A lot of the suggestions are very, very specific to the client that I was working with, the childhood memory, the first relationship. At its core, though, this is about the parts therapy. It's about the part that wants a great relationship and the part that's trying to keep them safe, working as a team rather than in conflict. And sometimes the clue of conflict is almost like those old-fashioned cartoons where you have a devil on one shoulder and an angel on the other, and they're kind of trying to talk the person into doing something. That's a clue of conflict. If you've got a part that says, but you should do this, and you say, but I don't want to, that's that kind of dynamic of kind of polarizing parts. And we want to turn that tug of war into a 3-legged race, so they're actually moving in the same direction. So there's a lot going on here. Hopefully you'll get some value from it. And if you do want something like this but bespoke to you, there will be a link in the description where you can schedule a free consultation call to explore working with me. For now, though, find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in that slow, long breath of relaxation, and as you exhale, give permission to just release any stress, any overactive thoughts. Just feel them start to leave your body in that outward breath. Breathing in relaxation, exhaling tension. Each breath takes you deeper and deeper relaxed. That's it. And on the next outward breath, really release your eyelids. Relax them, allow them to feel heavy. As you realize with your eyes closed, how much easier it becomes to focus on the sound of my voice. That's right. And the slower and longer you breathe, the more relaxation you inhale and the more tension you exhale, where each breath enables you to drift deeper and deeper relaxed. And I want you to feel like it's turning a dial down on any need to think, evaluate, or preempt. That's it. Drifting to that place of relaxation, where the deeper you breathe, the more relaxed you become. And the more relaxed you become, the deeper you breathe. And as your body relaxes, your imagination awakens. And I want you to think of a beach you've been to before, with clean, soft sand, calm waters. Perhaps on a day of blue skies and sunshine. And let's just imagine that this beach is completely private. It is just for you. That's it. Breathing in, breathing out. And I want you to imagine the sea is calm, but then imagine temporarily a very short storm comes along and the waves get jumpy, volatile. And I want you to get a feeling that that's natural. That in times of turbulence, it's natural for the waves to be larger, crash harder. But imagine that short storm fades away. The sunshine returns. And look how naturally the sea returns to being a calm sea of gentle waves. And I want you to get a feeling that for most of your life, your mind was like that calm sea. But then something happened. Lots of different things in different directions. Kind of like an emotional storm. And while that storm was happening, the waves got bigger. But I want you to get a feeling that throughout it all, you have remained focused on your goal. Your goal is your future, the very thing that you're building. And I want you to get a sense that perhaps the sea is already calm or just becoming calmer. But let's help. I want you to imagine somewhere on this beach is a doorway, and this doorway leads to a memory of your past. But you don't return to the past as you were. You return to the past as you are now. And this door doesn't need to be connected to a building, because it's just your imagination. So maybe imagine a wooden door there on the beach. And as I count from 5 to 1, you will imagine opening the door, walking through the door, and finding yourself back at a childhood home, perhaps when you were just 6, 7, 8 years old. But you will return at your current age as the observer. If you can imagine the door in front of you, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. 5, just imagine putting your hand on the handle. 4, turning the handle. 3, opening the door. 2, walking through the door. and 1, closing the door behind you. Just imagine you're there. On some day, perhaps when you as a child were worried. And I want you to imagine nobody can see you except your younger self. And maybe you can recall the layout of that home, certain things that used to be there, maybe clues of volatility, lack of stability. But I want you to seek out the room that you used to sleep in as a child. Imagine knocking on the door, opening the door and going inside. Seeing that younger version of you. And I want you to reassure that child that you are them from the future. And even at 7 or 8 years old, they might be skeptical. So I want you to share with them a secret that only they would know, as evidence that you are them in the future. And when you've established that trust, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And all I want you to do is listen. Because maybe that younger version of you had beliefs and worries, thoughts and fears, but no one to share them with. And just listen. And maybe that child is sharing feelings of feeling unsafe, of not getting the attention or reassurance they need. But I want you to imagine what it would be like to give that child everything that they really needed and wanted back then. A feeling of safety, of reassurance, perhaps even understanding. And as you do that, see their facial expression and their body language change. And tell them certain key things that you know happens in the future and that they can handle it. That in some ways, this time in their life will actually lead to high levels of success. Tell them you believe in them, but most of all tell them that they are loved and they are worthy. They are good. They deserve good things, and they deserve love. And I want you to imagine giving a resource to that child that you really wish you had back then. Maybe confidence, maybe self-belief, maybe perspective. But imagine handing over a glowing ball of energy to that childlike version of you. See them absorbing it there in their chest, and feel that shift rippling all the way from their time to yours. A sense that your worth isn't connected to what you've achieved, how you look, status, or money. Your worth is irrefutable simply because you are. And I want you to imagine that you can return to this room to help this child with anything else in the future, but for now, tell them you'll be back. Give them a hug. Tell them they're loved and worthy. And you can see them drift off to sleep with a smile on their face as they seem calm, relaxed, and safe. But as you leave the door, I want you to imagine the door takes you to a new house in a previous relationship. And let's walk through that door. And when you find yourself in that new house, perhaps shortly after the arrival of a new child, but you're there at your current age, which means you also exist at the time that you were living there. And when you arrive in that house, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to imagine finding yourself there alone, or perhaps with a small baby nearby. And you can see yourself those years younger. And the difference is you know everything that happens from that point onwards. I want you to consider this: an intervention. You can't change the past, but you can change the meaning. And when you found that younger version of you, yet still an adult, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to tell them the things that they're tolerating that they don't need to. Criticism, power dynamics, game playing. And maybe you see the look of shame or embarrassment or awkwardness on that younger version of you. You can also tell that younger version of you why you're doing it. Putting your children first. Loyalty. Doing what you think is right. But I want you to tell that younger version of you that it doesn't help. That you shrinking to not rock the boat doesn't mean that that boat isn't going to go into the direction it's going to go to anyway. And I want you to coach that younger version of you to adopt the standards that you now have. As you recall that time where you said, no more. And I want you to articulate that to that younger version of you so that your standards become their standards. And this creates a new timeline. We can't change the timeline that has already happened. But I want you to see what would happen if that younger version of you adopted the standards that you now have. It may not salvage your relationship, but it may salvage your self-esteem, your confidence, your self-worth, and even your soul. And just imagine seeing that new timeline. And if you get a sense that the standards that you now have back then would have helped, let me know by nodding your head. And that becomes evidence that your current standards are the right standards. Which means that you've learned from your past. I want you to find a different room in that house that's empty as you say goodbye to that younger version of you. And in that room, we're going to invite two different parts into that room. The first part is the part that craves love, connection, and trust. That intuitive part that just knows that things are going to be okay. And as that version of you, that part, enters the room, Maybe you see them looking confident, self-assured, certain. And when they've arrived in that room, let me know by nodding your head. But now I want you to invite another part that clearly exists. An insecure, perhaps even paranoid, maybe even suspicious part. That part that likes to go down rabbit holes, that is always wondering when the next shoe could drop. And when that part enters the room, maybe they look different, fidgety, anxious, everything you would expect an overthinker to look like. And when they've arrived and you can see them, let me know by nodding your head. That's right. And I want you to thank both parts, because they truly have good intentions. The part that is trusting and certain and confident, well, that part helps you to be decisive. There are some people, when a relationship fails, it almost taints every possibility and sabotages any possibility of happiness. But that part ensured you found someone right for you, so thank that part. Because without them, you wouldn't have your new relationship. And see them smile and take that. But you can also take that anxious, fidgety part. Thank them for their intention. And ask them if their intention was to protect you, to warn you. A form of due diligence to make sure you're not stepping into something that could be a mistake. And if that part agrees that that's its true intention, let me know by nodding your head. And you could be grateful for the intention, but not grateful for the way it's executing that intention. Because it's executing that intention by playing scenarios again and again and again, thinking about all of the what ifs, all of the downsides. But what if that doesn't protect you from a bad relationship, but sabotage a good one? And I want you to share that with that part, because it truly wants to help you. And maybe it didn't realize that it's potentially taking a good thing and making it worse. And I want you to ask that part if it's willing to help you in a new way. And if it agrees, let me know by nodding your head. Because this part is simply hypervigilant. It's looking for clues when there's no crime. It's looking for red flags when the flags are green. And all I want you to do is ask this part to change its threshold. Some people have had a smoke alarm that's too sensitive. Just making some food sets it off. But equally, if the smoke alarm never went off if there was a fire, what's the point in having it? And I want you to ask that part to only help you analyze things if there is truly something that would affect your evaluation of the relationship. And maybe it's way too sensitive. And now you only need to have this part helping you if there is truly something going on. And I want you to think back to perhaps red flags that you missed in your previous relationship, and ask this part to use that relationship as a training ground. That if things like that you tolerated, that in hindsight you shouldn't, come up in this new relationship, then it will warn you. But set the parameter that it has to be things from when the relationship started to the present. That anything before you started dating doesn't count. And if that part agrees, let me know by nodding your head. And now all three of you in the room want the same thing. A good relationship of love, respect, trust, but also that leads to a wonderful future. And if all three agree, imagine making a pact. Perhaps where one hand goes on another, like a pledge, an agreement, a consensus. And when all parts agree, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And you can tell both parts. You trust them to take this new responsibility. The initial part, you need their help to be more trusting, to be more certain. And the other part to only warn you if there's real cause for warnings. All parts are now in harmony, helping you move forward without the need for overthinking. And as you leave the room, imagine the door taking you to another memory. This time you're the observer of your first date with your current wife. Imagine opening the door, walking through, and you are now an invisible observer. No one can see you, not even that younger version of you. And I want you to see yourself, that very first meeting when the door opens. You had complete trust, certainty, extreme certainty. I want you to see that you were aligned. You trusted your intuition. You knew what you found was right. This is the first part, truly activated. I want you to see perhaps that first kiss, holding hands, the conversations. But I want you to imagine we're going to invent a new date. Perhaps somewhere between your second, third, or fourth date, we're going to create a new one, and you get to imagine the place. And this time, step into that version of you that was absolutely certain that this was the right relationship for you. Imagine being in a particular, perhaps restaurant, particular location, the kind of place perfect for a conversation. And I want you to imagine asking them about the period, perhaps a 6-year period, when they were dating but before they found you. Notice your voice is not insecure, not intimidated, not worried at all, but just curious. And imagine observing as what you hear doesn't affect that version of you at all. In fact, your mannerisms are a nodding head, smiles. Nothing said deters you from knowing that this is the relationship that you desire. And when you're certain, then even after you know everything, it wouldn't have changed a thing in your decisions. Let me know by nodding your head. Rewind it, step into the version of you, Imagine having the same conversations now from a first-person perspective, but feel like it was your second, third, or fourth date. Casual, confident, curious. You share about your dates, they share about theirs. Short relationships, longer relationships. None of it bothers you at all. As your inner dialogue is saying, none of this matters. It doesn't matter. Because if nothing could have deterred you then any thoughts about the past can now be considered futile. And I want you to think of what kind of sabotage it would have done to your career to spend lots of time or thinking time pursuing futile things. You already have a standard that just says, I don't do that. And I want you to feel that standard of what you do and don't do is now applying to those thoughts of the past and worries of the future. That it has to be genuine concerns, otherwise it simply isn't important. And if you feel that you can activate that new standard, that new threshold, to be able to dial down the volume or just shut them down with a response like, who cares? Doesn't matter. And feel that's true, let me know by nodding your head. And you may need to train that part. There may be echoes of that anxious part that come back, and you need to remind it that's below the threshold. That is them not meeting their responsibilities. And now I want you to leave that imaginary date, but with a feeling of, if nothing could deter you, even with all the information, then the information isn't needed now. And I want you to imagine returning to a home where you live, and imagine seeing a full-length mirror. And in that mirror, I want you to imagine it represents the future. I want you to imagine stepping through the mirror and being an observer, perhaps of yourself in 6 or 12 months' time. You're observing yourself, but I want you to see how that future version of you reminds you a lot more of that version of you on your very first date. Self-assured, confident, clear, high standards. And I want you to see how you being that way enhances the relationship. I want you to see that future version of you focusing on the things that matter. I want you to see yourself with a new source of income, building a wonderful future with your wife, making progress towards those goals. And I want you to see an absence of any of those facial expressions or body language that you've had when you've been having those intrusive thoughts. It just seems to be gone. In fact, I want you to see yourself with the look of peace. And I want you to step into that future version of you and just check. Check what it feels like to have thoughts that are constructive, useful, that move you forward. Because that's evidence of an absence of those old thoughts that used to ruminate, take you down rabbit holes. And if you can feel what it would feel like to be in that future, feeling that wonderful sense of peace and an absence of those ruminating thoughts, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to locate that feeling of internal peace, maybe in your gut, your chest, or somewhere else. And just imagine expanding it, amplifying it. Notice a calmness in your inner dialogue. And I want you to try and come up with a ruminating thought, the kind of thing that would have had you spiraling in the past. And almost smile when it comes up, as you remind that part that we don't do that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't meet the threshold. And if you feel that you can successfully start to see it arrive, and then nip it in the bud, see it flicker and then dampen it straight away, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And as time goes on, you'll get better and better at making these old thoughts so mundane, almost like grey, unimportant, boring. And it just becomes a fleeting thought that doesn't occupy your attention or your time and just fades away. And I want you to return through that door back onto that beach and now see what was those choppy waters now seems calm and still. And I want you to see a sense of not just calmness, but excitement there on the horizon. A feeling that your future is very bright, full of wonderful experiences. Not because of what you achieve and what you do, but simply because of who you are and who you love. That's it. It's time to leave this place. Taking all of those parts now working together, giving different meanings from past events and extracting all of the wisdom. That's it. Very soon I will count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. So take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Connect and calibrate into the here and the now. As I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of The Hypnotist. If you've enjoyed this episode or got some value from it, please give it a 5-star rating and review. And maybe you know someone that would also benefit from this particular episode, in which case share the episode with them so they can also get the benefit too. And if you would like to listen to this episode where it's just the hypnosis, so no intro, no outro, no explanation, just the hypnosis and completely ad-free, there will be a link in the description where you can subscribe at a very low cost and only get access to the hypnosis. So if that's of interest, please check that out. Thank you again for being a regular listener of The Hypnotist, and I'll see you again soon for more.